Okay, for people that don't know me, my name is Peter Hansen, and I've been a mediator for a bit over 20 years, and I've worked in family relationship centres for 12 years from 2012. So I've worked across 3 states and 5 different FRCs. So I've had a bit of experience in family mediation, and I've got and during that time in FRCs, I've done a Masters of Conflict Management and Resolution. What I want to talk about today is a thing that we've developed over the last nearly 9 years, and we've named it Magenta for Mediators. Okay, and I'll just share the screen. Okay, so what happened is it's a family dispute resolution platform specifically for family dispute resolution practitioners. And click through the next slide. When I started in doing family property mediations back in about 2015, it was whiteboard and calculator, and was often a 2-person job to do that sort of mediation. Okay, you had a mediator with a calculator and looked after the whiteboard, and the other mediator would basically run the mediation. And where all this started back in 2015, when I was working at Shepparton Family Relationship Centre, it was myself and Trevor were doing a property mediation. And Trevor was going to look after the whiteboard, and I was going to look after the mediation. So it was all drawn up on screens on whiteboards similar to this. And we got into the negotiation part of the mediation of who's going to get what asset and all that sort of stuff. And we started swapping things around from one side of the ledger to the other side. And then all of a sudden, it added up to 109%. There was a mistake somewhere on the board. Trevor started adding up all the columns, and all the columns added up. There was a problem somewhere crossways on the board, and I picked up a calculator and started adding up things crossways. Meanwhile, Mum and Dad decided to start having an argument. I had to put the calculator down, sort out the arguments. We got the error on the board fixed. We got the mediation back on track, and we got an agreement. But when we went back into our office, we were we need to figure out a better way of doing that. We really need to figure out a better way of doing that than calculator and whiteboard. And we decided it needed to be up on a screen, and maybe an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, where everything was up on the screen and it all ran automatically. Starting in about 2015, this is what I was doing. An Excel spreadsheet, a screen that the parties could look at. And I found out that it worked really well. Rather than looking at each other, they were looking at the screen. And down in the bottom corner of the screen, I had a little pie chart with the division of the property. And they were very much focused on their share of the pie. And that worked really well. From 2015, I kept on improving it. I'd do another mediation with it, and I'd improve it some more, add a feature, kept on testing and retesting and improving. These photos are back from about 2017. So using an Excel version of Magenta. 2022, or in between that time, I taught myself to write VBA code and developed the Excel spreadsheet to a stage where it needed to go to the next level and make it an online tool that all mediators could use. So that's where we decided, and this gives you an idea of what it looks like as an Excel, so as online. And it's the property app is the first app in what the platform is going to be about. And the platform is a platform for mediators with mediator tools. Okay, so we've completed building the basic items of the first app, which is Magenta for property. Okay, so let's have a look at what Magenta actually looks like. And I'll click that and it should open that. Okay. This is the website. So it's pretty much a normal looking website. It's got some information about Magenta for mediators. You can sign up for a newsletter. Each fortnight, there's a new article relevant for family mediators going onto there. And the last tag is the login is done with either Google or Microsoft. I could never build security as well as what Google or Microsoft could. So that part of it is farmed out to Google and Microsoft. So you log in with either Google or either your Google or your Microsoft credentials. So you just click your login with Microsoft here. And I'll pick my account, and that will take you into the dashboard of Magenta. Okay. This is your home dashboard. Now, and you've got your case list here. Okay. If you have a look down on the left-hand panel, you've also got just the cases. You've got some guides here, and in guides, you will find, if you click it, okay, guides, you'll see a getting started there. And if you click that, it'll open up a work instruction or a user guide that you're able to use as you work through, as you're working with it. Okay. Now, one of the things that the developers in their brief for this was that this has to be so intuitive that the mediator can use it like riding a bike. Once they've learned to ride a bike, you don't have to think about riding the bike as you ride the bike. Okay. One of the things that the web app guys had built before was a school canteen ordering app. Typically, mum is getting the kids dressed and get their shoes on, their bag packed and off to school. She picks up her phone and orders their lunch. In doing that, it has to be so intuitive for somebody to do that they don't have to think about it. They're doing something else while they're using the app. And that is the premise for Magenta for mediators. Mediators need to be able to use it just intuitively and not have to think too much about navigating their way around it. So that was an important part of the brief for the developers. Okay. To open a case, you just click new case. Okay. And that will open up a new case. Okay. And I'll just go back to an existing case. Okay. So a case, and you'll see there, the blank case is already opened up. Okay. I'll pick an existing case here. And I've always used Brad and Janet as my test parties. It was my test people. Okay. You'll find here, it opens up a case. Now, case type at the moment, this is the basic tools, which are free for every mediator to use as much as they want to use it, okay? But as we build it out, there's going to be a professional version on a case level. You can upgrade a case from basic to professional or to integrative, but you'll be able to upgrade there. But at the moment, the basic features are all available and they are free and will always be free, okay? So here we've got enter the party's details, okay? Brad Major, save and close. Okay, enter mum's details. And we've got Janet, email address and phone number, save and close. Over here, we can add the children. Okay, and if you've got more than 3, you just add more. And it'll add another line below. Add more, add another line below. Okay, save and close. Okay, we've got a pre-mediation step. Okay, and I'll just open that. And it's a little bit slow. Okay, it's got pre-mediation, the 4-step mediation process, and export returns. Okay, I don't know why it's going slow today. Okay, Here, if you're doing a pre-mediation, some steps you might like to do in the pre-mediation is a statement of intent, what the parties would like to get from their mediation. You go to the next step. Okay. Working in a pre-mediation sense, okay, you could ask the client to list off what they see as the main assets are, and with their own numbers, what they would like to have on their side of the ledger and what they would think the other party would like to have on their side of the ledger. Okay. So having done this with Brad, okay, the little pie graph down here in the bottom in the corner says that Brad's getting about 51 and Janet's getting about 49%. Okay, so the question is, would a court think that is just and equitable? Okay. If you want to add more lines to it, okay, you just click the bottom line and it will add more lines as you go. If you see something that, okay, you want to get rid of it, okay, you want to get rid of that line off the sheet, you just click the minus sign and remove it. Okay. Also in pre-mediations, you might want to consider past contributions and future needs. And we've got a sheet here where past contributions can be listed off and the future needs can be listed off here. Okay. I'll just go back to the cases and we'll reopen this case here and the mediation itself. Okay. Property mediation works on the 4-step process. So you can start with the statement of intent of what the parties would like to get from their mediation. Okay. Or you could jump straight to asset and liability sheet. Okay. Now, asset and liability sheet, you list off all of the assets, all of the financial resources such as superannuation and all the liabilities. You put in the value that Brad thinks it's worth. Then you put in the value that Janet might think it's worth. If the two numbers match, it will fill automatically to the agreed column. Okay. Down here on this line, okay, the Jayco camper trailer, Brad says it's worth $5,000. Janet says it's worth $6,000. If Janet decides that, yeah, okay, it is worth $5,000, it'll automatically fill to that column. Okay. So, well, sometimes you do a mediation and you've got homework to go away with. So you list off the notes and then you can print this off and give it to the parties or email it to them of what their homework to be done in this stage. Okay. Once you've got an agreed number down here, this is your net worth. You can go to what the past contributions were. Okay. And start and list off Brad's past contributions and Janet's past contributions. From the introduction page, it will put in dates of when they began cohabitation and the year of separation. If you put in something here, say, we'll just put in, say, car. Somebody bought a car, okay? And we put in the year, say it was actually 2003, okay? And when you click save, it'll actually put it back up into the right chronological order, okay, of 2003, okay? If you put something down here, if you change it, yeah, if you put something down here, then bought a house, and if you put it in here, that it was in 2017, sorry, 2017, and then click save, it'll put it back up into the correct order. Okay. If you need more lines, okay, just click the bottom line and it'll add you more lines. Okay. If you want to get rid of something off that list because it's not relevant or not actually true, or for whatever reason you want to take something out, you can remove a line out of that. Okay. And then you click save. Okay. Future needs. Okay. So here is all the future needs from the Family Law Act. And if you click on here, it gives you a brief statement of what it is, age and health of the parties. But if you want to actually look at that particular part of the Family Law Act, you click on there and it'll bring up that section of the Family Law Act, the age and state of health of each of the parties. Okay. The income and property and financial resources of each of the parties and the physical and mental capacity of each of them for appropriate and gainful employment. Okay. So you can work all through that. Okay. You can put each of the parties' future needs in here by just clicking add lines. Okay. Divide the property, which is the pointy end of the process. Okay. It draws across all the numbers from the agreed sheet. Okay. And this is your agreed column. It's got sliders here of where you might want to put a particular asset on either Brad's side or on Janet's side. And down here, we've got a little pie graph that will give you the percentage split. Okay, there's a house that they've agreed on value, and say Janet wants to get the house, so you slide it across to her side of the ledger. And because there's a mortgage on the house, you slide that across there as well. Okay. Brad wants the unit, so you put the unit on his side of it. Okay. You put the Ford Ranger over on Brad's side. Okay. Toyota Corolla goes over on Janet's side. And then we might put the motorbike over on Brad's side and the Jayco camper van over on Brad's side. So Brad wants to keep his super, so let's have a look at what that looks like. We'll put that over there. Janet wants to keep her super, so we'll slide the super over to her side. Okay. The Visa credit card, that was Brad's, we'll put it over there. So what does that property settlement look like? Okay, it's 56 to 43 for Janet. Okay. It looks like Brad might have to give her some of her super. So what would it look like if Brad split off 49% of his super? Hang on, if Brad split off, I'll go back. If Brad split off 50% of his super, that would look like Janet 57%. Okay, so you can play with the numbers like that. Okay, if you go across here, you can increase Brad's payout of super to Janet and see what those numbers look like. And there we go, and we're up to, yeah, Janet 60%. Okay, you can do a save, and then you can go to the next sheet. Table of settlement, and you can print it off as a proposal, okay, and print a proposal there, okay. So that works pretty well. Just click print, and that'll come up that as a table, as a proposal that they could print off, okay. Go back, okay, back to Janet, okay. You can go back to the table of settlement there, okay. It's got those things. We can go forward again to the table of settlement, okay. Or actually we could do a different proposal, okay. Or go through to the table of settlement, and you could print that off as their agreement. And that's all in the free version, okay. Some of the features that are coming up in the paid version, okay, things like generating a full agreement, okay. So from that table of actually, I'll go back to this table of settlement, okay. When you're doing the table of settlement, if you put in what the type of asset is, whether it's vehicle, and then transferring or keeping, okay, you can then go to the dashboard, and then you can generate a pro forma document or your heads of agreement, and it takes a couple of seconds, and it will generate a Word document, and in a couple of seconds you've got the heads of agreement generated as a Word document. Here we go. Okay, so can you see the Word document there now? Yep, okay, good. It's generated the Word document for you, parties' names, to put your statement of intent in, okay, has pulled all the information out of Magenta and written it into an agreement. We're still doing a little bit of work on this. There's a few things that need to be tidied up, like putting a comma in some of the values, but that's where we're at. So, okay, don't save. Okay, close. Yeah, so that's basically it. The free version is free for anyone to use for as long as they want to use it. Okay. The premium features, generating the heads of agreement, they're paid. And I'll just go back here and share this again. And one of the other features that's coming forward soon is the client portal dashboard, or the client dashboard, where the client can log in, okay, and have a look at their own case, and then be able to fill out their, or update their own detail, add the other party's details, fill out forms like intake forms or assessment forms, and upload documents, and those documents to be able to be shared with the other side. So that's the bit we're working on at the moment, which is some of the more premium features. The idea is that the free version be able for a mediator to be able to do a mediation quite easily with the free version. The things that save you time will cost you the price of a cup of coffee. So like the heads of agreement automatically generating, and the client portal. So when the client is able to upload information and fill out forms, yeah, all that sort of for the price of a cup of coffee. And that's where we're building it at the moment. So any questions?
Thank you, Peter. It's a massive amount of work to create that. I can only imagine.
It's been fun.
Yeah. And Bonnie, I think you asked what's the fee for the HOA?
The heads of agreement, you upgrade from the basic to professional. The things that are going to be in professional, the heads of agreements, the client portal, and your own branding. Okay, so they're the three things that will be in if you upgrade a case from basic to professional. The price for a professional case, haven't got an exact pricing, but it's going to be something like the price of a cup of coffee, $5 or $6 or something, $5, $6, $7, somewhere in that range.
And people will be able to upgrade on per case sort of
Per case, yeah. Yeah. So the idea is if you're a new practitioner, there's no subscription fee or no yearly or monthly subscription fee. You can go into it, you can play around with it, use it for mediations. All of that is free. The things that will save you time, like the heads of agreement and the client portal, that is in the professional version. And that's where, if you're flat out and you're busy and you don't have time to do that paperwork with the client yourself, the idea is, and it's a value proposition, an hour of your time for the price of a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Seems like a good deal to me.
Fair enough. And I think there's a question, what sets it apart from other products? I've been using family property for a while and great support of the work that Fiona did.
Yep.
And then sold off.
When I first seen family property was 2019 at Canberra at the National Mediation Conference, and I had a look at that and I went, oh, damn, somebody's beat me to it. But the idea for Magenta is it is specifically for mediators. Okay. A lot of the other software that's floating around is legal tech. Okay. And it's got much more of a focus on lawyers and law firms and lawyers doing mediation. I came from mediation background, 12 years in family relationship centers. This is designed for mediators. Okay. Mediators doing mediations, mediators doing property settlement. Okay. It doesn't generate minutes of consent orders. It generates the heads of agreement. Okay. And it's a very good heads of agreement that you can then send off to the lawyer and have it drafted into a consent order. Yeah. Very much from a mediator background, not from a lawyer background. So that's the big difference.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, any other questions, comments? Looking pensive there, Mark.
Peter, it's Jack Quaid here. I just got a question for you. Just on your liabilities, when you were doing that Brad example, you slid it across to the party B, for example, for the liability. I didn't see it split and go two ways, like a 50-50, or is there
you can, you just leave the slider in the middle.
Okay, so you have two choices there for the slider, like
left and right, or in the middle, or
It's taking off one side when it adds to the other. So.
Yes, it does. I'll go back to it and I'll give you a look at that.
Thank you.
Okay, shares. Okay. Yep. So there we're back on the dividing. You can see that, okay?
Yep.
Okay, say the house, it's going to get sold, okay? You might set the mortgage in the middle, okay? And then, okay, they're going to divide the house evenly, and that's there. So the house gets sold and they split the proceeds from the house and after the mortgage is paid. Okay.
So as you use that slider, where do you reference? Is it down the bottom there with your global split, or
sorry, the question is
where you see your, let's say, the ANZ mortgage and your liabilities?
Yep.
Let's say you slide it left a little bit, for example. Where are you picking up that's now about 70%? Where's your 70%?
That's there. If you look over here, it says 72.
Sorry, I couldn't see that because of the people that are on the screen. That's all.
Okay, that's 72.28.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Joanne's just got 70%.
Yeah. So you can move the slider either with your mouse pointer or with your arrow keys. Okay.
Yep.
And moving with the arrow keys is 1% increments. Okay. Yeah. Something like if say Janet's getting the house, you'd move the mortgage over there. Might be Brad's getting, say, 20% payout of on the house, and 20% of the house is $128,000.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't see that on the right before. Just one other last question, if I may, while I got the floor at the moment, is just how do you look at the contribution where somebody comes in with something past contributions in step 2?
Yep. Past contributions. Click on past contributions. Okay, we list off Brad's down this side, prior contributions before the relationship got together. You list them off here and what year they were. Okay, they started cohabitation in 2004, and you would list them off here, down here. Okay, then separation was 2020, and you would list post-separation contributions. You'd list them off down here, and over here, Janet, you would do the same down this side. Okay.
So does that adjust the outcomes by putting anything in there, or is
no? There's no formula. There's no formula for what the property settlement looks like. It's the rationale for the split. So you look at your past contributions, okay, and then you look at your future needs, and the family court says there's more weight put on future needs than what is put on past contributions, okay, and you start and list off age and health of Brad here, okay, Janet, age and health of Janet, income earning potential for Brad, income earning potential for Janet, okay, what says about the care of children of the relationship that are not yet 18 years old, okay, you put in what the care arrangement might be there, support of other children, support for other people, if either party has got a pension or a benefit, okay, that if a person needs to increase their learning, to increase their earning capacity, there's a clause in the Family Law Act about that, okay, income, circumstances relating to the cohabitation with a new partner, you might want to look at that, okay, existing court orders, prenuptial agreements, okay, you look at all that, and this is where you go through and document, or you can document all of the future needs of the parties, okay. After that, okay, one of the things that this does have is that, I didn't show it before, but I'll just scroll down to it. Okay. You might have, and mediators sometimes run into, okay, Dad, you've gotten some legal advice about what sort of global or what sort of percentage split might be appropriate in your case. Yeah, and Dad might say, yeah, my lawyer said 55-45. Okay. And then you go, Mum, what's your legal advice about a property split? And you might have that party say, oh, my lawyer said 50-50 on the super and 60-40 on, or 70-30 on everything else. So you've got apples and oranges then. And what this little calculator can do is put in Brad or Janet's conversion of what their split could be. Okay, so he can, so if the assets split, okay, so if Brad's thought that, yeah, it should be 75-25 on the asset pool, and then the super be 50-50, in this property pool, that works out to a global split of 64-36. Okay, so it does that calculation for you, which needs to take into the size of each of those parts of the pool. So you can use that as well. Okay.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions? I don't think there were any others. Lots of people thinking that you're a genius and they like what you're doing and all sorts of nice things.
Spent a lot of time thinking about this and finding some web developers where I could communicate it out of my head into their head. I found that to be the biggest challenge, because I knew what I was talking about, but
Yeah.
the problem is getting it into somebody else's head so that they can code it to have it look like that. And they've done an absolutely brilliant job of what they can do from what I was able to do in Excel and using VBA codes. But they've done a great job of building this. The client portal will be great. Okay. One of the things that we want to do going forward is have a group of innovators. Okay. So it's an expert panel. Okay. And as we develop a new part of this, we want the innovator group of experts to have a look at it, make suggestions of how it could be better, or how it should be, what it should be looking like, or scrap it all together. Okay. I want to develop a panel, only about 10 mediators, for feedback on new innovations. Okay. And what it would be in return is that the innovator group, they get free use of the professional versions. Okay. They get first access, plus they get free use of the professional premium versions. So that's something we're looking for. So if anybody is interested in being part of developing and making this thing even better, get in touch, because we're looking for people with good ideas about how this could be made better. And then we're going to move on to building a parenting version of this. So for parenting mediation. So it's going to be fun.
Going to be fun. I don't think you'll have trouble filling your panel, Peter.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea, the way the panel will work is just they get access to a new feature. Okay. As we're building it, I send out a short questionnaire, probably no more than 8 questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Blah, blah, blah. Send it back to me. Okay. I work with all the results and formulate a new question. Okay. How about we do it like this? And I send that out as a second round, and each development or each increment has probably 2 rounds of questions to move it forward in developing something specifically for mediators, specifically for FDRPs. So, yeah.
Wonderful. So what's the best way?
Mark, I think, had a question.
Yep. Sorry, Mark. Yep. Go on.
No, cheers, Joe. No. Okay, Pete. How are you, mate?
Good.
Great. Thank you for that. That's awesome. A couple of questions I had. I will often write in between sessions 3 and 4. I'll write up an interim summary. Here you go. And it's a PDF. And
Yep.
here's agreed property pool, summary of everything. Take that to your lawyer, get your advice, come back and we'll kick it about in the spreadsheet. They go, beauty. That's great. Nice one. What I'm getting a lot of requests, I don't know what other people do, but a few requests saying, could you send the working spreadsheet so we can play around with proposals to make it easier for us to come up with proposals? And I'm going, yeah, that sounds all right. Yeah, but rather than a PDF version. And all my data that I put into the spreadsheet prior to the session is provided by the clients prior and via my documentation.
Yep.
That allow for that, whether I do it or not.
Yeah, in that client portal that we're building at the moment, remember that pre-mediation sort of asset liability, you'd go with Brad. If you on Brad's rubbery numbers, because they're not agreed numbers, they're just your numbers, Brad. Okay. What do you want to have in your side of the ledger? What do you want to have on your side of the ledger?
Yeah.
Okay. That page or that part of the tool or that tool is going to be available in Brad's portal login.
So Brad can kick it around and look at the options.
So Brad can
if I do that, and so can Janet.
Yeah, so they can each play with their numbers and kick it around and have a really good play with it, okay, to see what they could do.
Yep. And then could I get access to that portal, have a look at what they've come up with in their own ideas? Because they turn up on the day and go, oh, it's in my portal. Do I access that, or is it just... Not that I probably need to, because I said...
We're building that at the moment, and that's a really good idea. Because if there's... Yeah, I've done that in my portal, and I've got to the mediation. Yeah, that'd be a really good idea to be able... Or to share it with a practitioner. At the moment, you can do that with the practitioner in the pre-mediation. Here, let's play with the numbers. But and I'm just thinking, if you're in a Zoom call with a client, okay, and you're just doing a one-on-one session with a client and they've had a chance to have a play around with it themselves, they could share screen and you could see what they were doing. But yeah, it would be a good idea to have the practitioner or the client, share with the practitioner. It doesn't have to be the tool itself. It could be just a PDF or a screenshot of where it's at.
Do that? Can they present options? I usually I have the spreadsheet up at bang. I might have 5 options: Brad's option, Janet's option, 1, 2, 3, 4, and play with all the different options. Can you do that with that in the actual session, or is it only option A and B?
Yeah, you can print off. You can print off as a PDF or put as a PDF. This was what it looks like. That's what it looks like. You can do 4 of them. Right. And you can do as many as you wanted of them.
Yeah.
Just that it labels the first 4.
Yeah.
But it doesn't run off into a separate version, the divide table, and another version of the divide table. Because then you're going, oh, which version am I in?
Yeah.
There's one divide the property table, and you can play with that and print that one and print that, or PDF that one.
Go back and re-put it back.
That's great. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Love it. Play.
Yeah, we can see iteration and happening before our very eyes, though.
Yeah, the idea of the client being able to share their when they have a play with the settlement table, them being able to share it with the practitioner, is a good idea. Yeah.
How you get to that, I got no idea, but good luck.
That's what sets Peter apart from us, isn't it? Because everything, you could do that, but how? No idea.
I've got some really good web app developers. The developer guys are actually brilliant at it. So they're very much prepared to have an argument with me about it, which is great because I want people to challenge what I'm thinking, right? Because I might not be right. I might have it really wrong, right? And they'll tell me that, no, it needs to happen this way. Okay.
That's a very good quality, not just that's what you asked for. We think it's stupid, but
and that's why I want to build the panel, right? The panel to come up with ideas of how to do this better.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I think all mediators want to do their job better.
Yeah.
Okay. And a craftsman is only as good as their tools.
Mm.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
I want this to be the tool for mediators. So
Excellent. Well, wonderful. Thank you very much. So I've popped your LinkedIn profile and the link through to Magenta for Mediators.
Yep.
So anyone who's listening and doesn't see the link, it's Magenta. You have to know how to spell Magenta. It's not hard. Number 4 and then mediators.com.au.
Yeah.
And if people have got more questions, can they just reach out to you?
Yeah, reach out. If they log into Magenta, you can, on the bottom of the homepage, you can sign up for the newsletter, or there's a contact page. Please feel free to book a demo with me. On the contact page, there's the Calendly thing there where you can just book a demo, or want to have a chat about it, or have a suggestion or anything.
That's fabulous. And the newsletter will be very helpful because I know you're full tilt on what's happening in family law. So definitely keeping people up to date. Yeah, excellent. Any final questions or comments before we just, I think you're welcome. Excellent. I'll stop.
I think it's great, Peter. Well done.
Okay.
Very brave.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Very brave, very brave, especially if you don't have an IT background. Yes, I would say very well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pete, you're a legend. I'm not going to put my camera on because I've just got a hoodie on and heaps of winter woolies and I'll look really interesting. So yeah, thanks heaps, Pete. It's really good. I think it's really intuitive as well. It's not clunky and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And I think you need to charge more.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, but
Oh,
yeah, I can't really cope with more than 2 property mediations a week. It just does my head in.
Yeah.
At that, if we're only paying $5
yeah.
for property mediation, you're still ahead using Magenta, just looking at it
Yeah.
purely from a financial perspective.
When I was building this in VBA, I got to the bit in VBA and Excel. I got to the bit about generating the agreement.
Yeah, that would have been too big.
I had it mapped out, and actually doing that bit is absolutely mind-bending.
It is, yes.
When you're coding that. And when the web app guys got to that bit, they said to me, doing that bit of getting the data out of the table and putting it into Word templates.
Yeah, with so many if clauses, because
And he said it was absolutely mind-bending. And I know exactly that.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to do it again later when we get to
Parenting's going to be
parenting
harder.
mediation and populating a parenting plan.
Yeah.
We're going to do it again.
It's going to be so much harder, but I'd love to talk with you about that. I cannot believe you attempted that in VBA. I wouldn't have done it in Python, let alone VBA. That was just, I have to say, perhaps a little insane, Peter, but that's okay.
Not quite sure what language you're speaking, but that's all right. And thank you again, Peter, for coming along. I'll turn the recording off now.